So, hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Creating Prefabrication Drawings of Hangers and Supports in Revit. And today's agenda is a quick overview of us and our products, then the live demo, takeaways, and the Q&A session. Now quickly about myself. My name is Dovydas Stanaitis and I'm a BIM application engineer at Agacad. I am an HVAC engineer by education and I have worked in this field for 5 years. I have designed mechanical, plumbing, and gas supply systems for administrative, residential buildings, and sports arenas for projects in Lithuania and Norway. And I have joined Agacad about 1 year ago, and here I'm responsible for our MEP tools and also Smart Browser and Smart Documentation. As a company, Agacad creates applications for Autodesk Revit based on the needs of the world's leading BIM practitioners. We are authorized Autodesk developers, and our first Revit add-on was created in 2008. And today we have a wide range of BIM applications for Revit. We automate various modeling, data management, and documentation tasks, and our tools can be used by engineers of many different disciplines and can be customized according to different needs or technologies. And in this presentation, I will talk about two of our products. One is MEP hangers. This tool allows for a quick and accurate large-scale insertion of hangers and supports in Revit projects. And the other one is Smart Documentation. It automates project documentation by automatically dimensioning and tagging elements, creating assemblies, views, legends, and more. And the software is very versatile and everyone can use it, not just MEP engineers. But today I will be using it for a very particular task, and that is creating prefabrication drawings of hangers and supports. Now these products, like many other Agacad products, have free fully featured trials. You can go to agacad.com and download our Tools for BIM doc. So it's an application for Revit, and with the Tools for BIM doc you can access all of our products. And today, first I will insert hangers in a project, and then I will create prefabrication drawings for them in two ways, with and without using assemblies. And then I will move to complex multi-level structures, how to create them, and how to generate drawings. And we can jump to the live demo. Okay, I am in the Revit project. So I am in the MEP project, and the architecture is coming from the linked file. I'm in the plan view for ventilation. And I will start with the problem that many MEP engineers face. That is that Revit doesn't have a built-in functionality for placing hangers and supports. That's excluding the fabrication parts. And our MEP hangers tackles that problems. I will drag it to the drawing area so that I have this toolbar available at all times. And as you can see in this view, I have already placed some hangers for ducts. And only this one apartment doesn't have any hangers. So to start, I will select ducts that I want to place hangers on and click Insert Hangers. I have a configuration, and here you can see all the sample configurations that we provide. I will click Edit, and here I have specified to insert this Unistrut hanger, and my spacing is set to center and just one element, meaning that I will place one hanger at the center of each duct. Insert, and all the ducts are now supported, all the selected ones. Now if I want to skip the window asking me for a configuration, I can use auto insert, but first in the type properties I need to enter my configuration name. And I will also modify my configuration just a bit. I will use another hanger this time. And again, selecting elements. That can include fittings as well. but we're not placing hangers on fittings. And auto insert. And all of these elements are now also supported. And if needed, I can nudge them up or down, or left and right as well. Now for these longer pieces, I will modify my configuration again. I will use yet another hanger to have a variety of hangers for my next example. And I will change the spacing to start and maximal spacing, and that's 2 meters. So the distance between hangers will never exceed 2 meters. And also for the Imperial folks, we have the software in the Imperial units as well. But again, selecting elements and auto insert. And the hangers are now placed, and not just one hanger, but a run of hangers. And I will modify my configuration just one more time, and I will use yet another hanger, this time a suspension bracket for round ducts. And again, selecting elements and auto insert again. And I have these supported too. So that's how quickly you can place hangers and supports using our software. And now that I have hangers, my project can satisfy the LOD 350 or higher requirements. And I have an accurate model for coordination. And I will show you what I have in a 3D view as well. So here you can see all the hangers in this apartment. And for my next example, I will be creating prefabrication drawings for these simple hangers. I will move to complex ones later. Yep, so many companies choose to do prefab because it saves time on installation, and it also gives a precise bill of materials, which can reduce costs on purchasing. But Revit doesn't have a built-in functionality to generate these drawings. So for that, I will use Smart Documentation. And again, drag it to the drawing area. And I will be creating assemblies out of my hangers. So for that, I will go to my schedule. And here you can see the schedule of hangers that I have in this project. And I have sorted the schedule by type comments, which is the hanger name, then clamp diameter, rod length, Unistrut length, and so on. So I have all the hangers and different sizes and totals for every size as well. Now, before I create assemblies, I need to number these hangers. So I need to number them because first, it's a requirement to use our assemblies creation. And secondly, well, that will just help me keep track of all the hangers later in the project. So I will hit numbering and tags and element numbering. So with element numbering, I can create any numbering rules that I need using parameters from a family and hidden parameters as well, such as coordinates, room data, and so on. I have a configuration. And first, I will run a configuration for hangers. So I'm filtering only the complete hangers. And I'm sorting them just like in the schedule. And in the final tab, I specify that my calculated value will have the H- prefix. Okay, and the software have numbered 170 almost elements. Some mark values are duplicate, but that's all right. And I can see the result here in the schedules in the mark parameter value. Now back here, I will number the hanger parts as well. So hangers are constructed of shared nested families, meaning that every component in them is a separate family, like rod, clamp, hexagon nut, anchor, and so on. So I will number those elements too. Here I have another configuration prepared for hanger parts, and the prefix is P- this time. And you will see that later on. Okay. Now back in the schedule. So for assemblies creation, the best workflow using our software is to create just one assembly first and then use it as a template for other assemblies. And I'll show you what I mean. So I will select the first row, and that is 27 hangers. Create assemblies. And I will show you my configuration first. So I have specified to create a 3D view and the left elevation. I have assigned view templates, and with smart documentation I can also create dimensioning and tagging rules. So I have assigned them as well. And for every assembly I'm creating some schedules and also a sheet. Okay, now let's run the configuration. So you can notice that the software is stopped at number 1. That's because it's a unique element. It's creating all the views for it, dimensioning and tagging them. But now for other elements, you can see that the software goes through them quickly because these are not unique elements anymore. The software identifies that such element already exists in the assembly that it has. So it skips through it and goes to another one, again checks that one, and then goes on till it's finished. So that's how assemblies in Revit work. Okay, and let's see the result. So in the project browser, I will find my assembly, and I have a 3D view. I have a left elevation and it's dimensioned and tagged. So I have a dimension for my rod length. Here I have distance between rods. And I have also specified to create a dimension for my anchors. So again, you can create dimensions for whatever you like. That's just an example. And I have also created a tagging rule which tags my clamps. So it tells me the diameter. And I have some schedules as well, and also a sheet. So now I will drag and drop all these views to my sheet. So this schedule tells me how many identical elements to this hanger I have in a project, 27. So I know that I need to manufacture 27 elements. I have a schedule for Unistruts, but this particular assembly doesn't have any. And I have the schedule for parts. So here you can see the marking configuration that I did. And this schedule has shows all the elements that I have in this particular size hanger. So the clamp, my rods, so it tells me that I have 2 rods and they're both 219 millimeters in length. And as you can see, that's true in this view as well. And I have some washers, nuts, anchors, and so on. So I have created a prefabrication drawing for simple hanger. Now, this is the only time that I need to drag and drop all the views manually, because after I create this one, I can go to my assemblies configuration and specify this sheet as a template, save. And now I will go back to my plan view, select other elements, other hangers, and create assemblies. Using the same configuration, it tells me that I can create assemblies for 16 elements out of 23. That's because some of the elements are already in the assembly. And I have I'm creating assemblies just for this selection to save you all some time. I could run it for the whole project, but I would say that would take me about probably 5 minutes. And again, notice that the software stops at some of elements. That's because it recognizes them as unique elements and it needs to create views and dimension them. Views and schedules and everything else. Okay, now let's take a look at the result again. So I have 4 new assemblies, and I can go straight to the sheets. So I have, again, 3D view, elevation, I have 3 identical hangers to this, and I have all the other relevant information. I have a 2-screw clamp. Here I have a different size of a 2-screw clamp. This one has a longer rod. And in here I have a Unistrut hanger, and it has a dimension for the Unistrut length as well. And this time the Unistrut schedule is displaying information. So now that you have prefabrication drawings, you will now know exactly how many materials you need, and you will be able to manufacture hangers off-site to save time on installation. But from my own experience, I know that not many MEP companies use assemblies in their daily workflows. So if you're not used to assemblies, I have come up with a different way to create these drawings. Well, almost the same. So let me go back to my plan view here. I will disassemble all of the assemblies. And I will be using views. I'll open the configuration. So in here, I'm creating same views, 3D view, left view, view templates again, dimensioning, tagging rules, but I don't have schedules or sheets anymore. So I will need to come up with a new way to create them. And very importantly, I have this option checked, ignore identical. That means that I will create views only for the unique elements. So again, selecting just the hangers, create single element views, and let's run the configuration. So now that it doesn't have to create schedules and sheets, it will run a bit faster. And as you can see, software detected 5 unique elements. So again, just like how many assemblies I had. Okay, almost there. And let's see the result. So I have the same 3D views. And we have, again, dimensioned elevations. Now to place them all onto sheets, I will use Sheets tab from the Smart Documentation. This Distribute Views on Sheets feature, it will create as many sheets as needed to place the selected views. And I have filtered only the views that begin with H-. So if you can remember, my hanger marking had H- prefix, and the views used my mark parameter value, so all the views begin with H-. So that's how I filtered them very easily. And in the layout rules, I can specify title block to use and offsets from the sides of the title block. So views are selected and place views on sheets. And I have 5 new sheets created. And every one has, again, a 3D view and the elevation. Now, next step is schedules. But for schedules, I must mention that what I'm going to show next, it's only possible in Revit 2023, because only in that version that Autodesk has introduced this new functionality for schedules. And it's called Filter by Sheet. So as you can see, in this schedule I have many elements. But if I drag this schedule onto a sheet, it will only display what's in this sheet or filter by sheet. So that's how easily I can see schedules that I need. So I will drop the schedule for miscellaneous items like, again, anchors, washers, nuts, rods and so on, and also the Unistruts. And again, this is empty this time. Now, if I don't want to manually drag and drop all the views, I can use Manage Viewports. I will select my schedules and place them on existing sheets. Select the sheets. Okay, close this one. And now all other schedules have the same, all other sheets have the same schedules. But again, these schedules are displaying different information because of the filter by sheet. And just one more example. And now, for example, in here, I have showed you this hanger and it has identical rods, as you can see in the schedule. But you might need rods that have different lengths sometimes. And I will try to recreate that. This time I'm just gonna change some parameters manually. And as you can see, the schedule updates instantly, so that's good. And for the dimensions, I will use predefined dimensions. So predefined dimensions are actually what's inside of my views and assemblies configurations, and that's what does all of that dimensioning. And I can hit update dimensions. And this dimension on the left for anchors has updated. And these values have been moved out because they would have been so close together that they would have overlapped. And our software noticed that and moved them out. And on the right, I have this one dimension for both of the rods. But that's because I chose to have it this way. I can also go to my configuration and modify this dimensioning rule. I will unjoin dimension lines. And now I have separate dimensions for my rods. So I can have it both ways. Now I must mention that for this approach using views, it has one drawback, and that is that I don't see the total count of the same hangers that I have in every particular sheet. But I have a workaround. I can find an empty sheet and drop my schedule of all the hangers that I have in my project. And for example, if I'm in this sheet, I can see that I have hanger number 7. And hanger number 7, I can look up in this sheet and I have 47 identical ones. So that's how many I need to manufacture. And if you don't have Revit 2023, and if you don't have all the schedules placed so easily, you can use all of these parameters instead of that. Okay, so that was prefab drawings for the simple hangers. And now the next part is the best part. So I will be designing and documenting complex multi-level structures. And for that, I will go into another project, another apartment building, and it has an underground floor. So I will go there. And here I have some MEP services, so some cable trays and some pipes. And in the section, you can see that these elements one above another. So it doesn't make much sense to hang each element individually. I would rather create multi-level supports. And I will show you the 3D view as well. Hide the floor. And also, on this side, you can see that all the elements are centered. And in here, the cable trays are not centered anymore, and the pipes are also moved to the left side a bit. Now, to start building this multi-level structure, usually I need to start with element that's at the bottom. So my largest cable tray run. Select the whole run and insert hangers. And I will use a configuration which will insert these Unistrut frames. Okay, let's run it. And let's see the result in 3D. Okay, now I have my bottom cable trays supported. For this other run of cable trays, I'm using another configuration, multi-level additional U-frame channel. And this configuration looks for these complete Unistrut frames, and it will place these single Unistruts at the intersections. Virtual intersections, as we call them. And now this second run is also supported. And for pipes, again, I will select pipes. I don't need to select all three, just one for both directions. And I'm using the same configuration. Okay, and now to make the structure even more interesting, I will also add Unistrut clamps. So I will select pipes that are above my Unistrut frames, all these, filter just the pipes. And place these Unistrut clamps. And you can see how my complete structure looks, and here are all of the clamps. And again, this structure is a bit different to this one because all the elements are centered, and here clamps are a bit more to the left side. Okay, now to create prefabrication drawings for these supports, I need to use Assemblies. So Assemblies is the go-to when I have complex structures. But it's a bit different than before because this one structure consists of 6 different families. And if I used create Assemblies for this selection, I would get 6 individual drawings. But again, I want just one. So to accomplish that, I will create assemblies by hand using plain Revit. And then I will create drawings for them using our smart documentation. So creating assemblies, giving this one a name. And it turns green because I have set up a filter in Revit so I can keep track of what's inside of the assembly and what isn't. Again, create. And now notice that Revit doesn't ask for a name anymore because it notices that this exact selection is already, it already has assembly like this. So it will group them together instead of creating a new one. This is a unique one. And now it matches the assembly number 2. And this will be unique one because clamps are a bit to the left side on this one. And I will create just a couple more. Now, just like before, I will create views just for one assembly first, and then I will use that as a template. Create. So again, creating all the views, dimensioning and tagging them. Okay, and let's find this in the project browser. And I will go straight to the sheet and start dropping my views here. So I have a 3D view. I have a front elevation, dimensioned and tagged, and the left elevation. Now you can notice some question marks. That's because I need to run my batch element numbering configuration. well, these are numbering configurations. So again, I'm numbering hanger parts and Unistruts this time as well. And using batch element numbering, I can run multiple numbering configurations, numbering marking configurations at once. And I have my schedules too. So again, I have two identical structures to this. I have a schedule for Unistruts and a schedule for parts. And notice that all of my marks, both for the Unistruts and for the parts, correspond with my schedules. And again, I have all the relevant information in these schedules, all the bills of materials that I need. So again, make this one a template. And now for the best part of a presentation, I will select the remaining assemblies, create assemblies using the same configuration, and let's run it. And again, views are being created and schedules are also being created, not the schedules, sheets, exactly according to my template. So I will get finished drawings straight away. Well, but I'm guessing that's we're almost finished here with this loading screen. Yep. So I can see my schedules now. Again, sorry, not the schedules, sheets. And I have full drawing straight away. So I have all the views, and let's take a look at the dimensions also. So here at the top, I have dimensions between my clamps, and I also have dimensions to the sides of my frame. On this side, I have a dimension for the length of a vertical Unistrut. Here is length of the horizontal one. Here is distance between centers of the vertical Unistruts, and here centers of the horizontal Unistruts. So I think all of the dimensions are in here. And again, I have left elevation, and I have total count, so I have 3 identical structures to this one, and I have, again, my Unistruts and parts with the corresponding marks. And I have one more. This one has clamps in the center. And these elevations are flipped here because the structure is at 90-degree angle compared to the previous one. So with MEP hangers, I'm able to create any multi-level structure that I need, and smart documentation can turn these Revit elements into complete prefabrication drawings. And for the last example, I will show you rooftop supports, and for that I will go back into my first project. I will go to my roof plan, and in here I have my air handling unit, and I have ducts going to shafts. We'll select all these elements. Okay, I have selected too many. Sorry, let me redo. Sorry, again, too many. Now that should be all right. Okay, again, a bit too many, but I think I can work with that. So unhide my roof. Yep. And here you can see that most of the ducts are already supported. Here I have some multi-level structures as well for these 2 intake and exhaust ducts. And just these 2 duct runs are unsupported. So for my final example, I will show you how to insert hangers for them and how to generate drawings for the supports. First, I will select just these 2 ducts, insert hangers, and I have a configuration called frame plus hanger. Again, it's a default one that we provide. And in here, I have a configuration that places my rooftop support. And in here, I have a hanger that attaches to the Unistrut that's being inserted in rule 1. Insert, and my selected hangers are now supported. I will select these elements, extend to the left a bit and to the right side by 800 millimeters. And now these other ducts have something to connect to. And also notice that one of them is above my supports and one of them is below. Selecting both of them, inserting Unistrut cantilever configuration, and all of these, both of these duct runs are now supported. And back in my plan view, creating assemblies, and now generating drawings. I'm using the same configuration as I did for my Unistrut frames, so you can see that I can use the same configuration for a bit different elements as well. They're a bit similar, that's why the dimensioning rules work for both of them. And let's find this assembly. Again, it's the separate project. It's another project, so I don't have the template sheet anymore. So I'm just gonna, again, manually drag and drop. Okay, so this is a large structure, so I need a larger sheet. Maybe nudge it side a bit. And all of my schedules as well. Again, totals, Unistruts, and all the other parts. And let's run the batch numbering for Unistruts and parts again. Okay. Again, duplicate mark values, but that's all right. So again, you can see all that numbering right here. And let's look to the dimensions that I have here. So at the top, I have dimension for my these hangers, and they're connected to the sides of the frame. Here I have a dimension for rods, and here again, Unistrut length for vertical Unistrut, for horizontal one, and distance between centers of the vertical Unistruts, and vertical elevation, and all the other good stuff. So you can see that all these dimensioning and tagging rules, they can be applied to different structures of supports. And again, I could use this sheet as a template for other supports. But that's all that I wanted to show you today in the live session. Let's go back to the slides. Okay, so some takeaways from today's webinar. With MEP hangers, you can insert hangers and supports quickly and easily. These can be regular simple hangers or complex multi-level structures. And today I have shown you only a few elements, but we provide a large library, both metric and imperial, for all the hangers and supports, and they can also be easily customized. And with smart documentation, you can create prefabrication drawings using assemblies or regular Revit views, and the generated drawings can be automatically dimensioned and tagged, elements can be numbered, and schedules placed according to predefined rules. And using both products, you can create 3D models in LOD 400 and quickly create prefabrication drawing, saving hours on the documentation process, all the manual work. And what I have shown you today is just a small part of what smart documentation can do. The software can be used by any Revit users, architects, structural or MEP engineers, or others, because all the view creation, dimensioning, tagging rules, they can be created according to specific needs, adapted to families that you use. And there's even more what I didn't cover in this webinar. Smart documentation also has the data extraction, legend creation, Excel import to Revit, and also the QR code generation. So let's work together. I will remind you that you can download our free trials to work more efficiently in Revit. Or if you would like, you can arrange a short meeting with one of our specialists to talk about your challenges and needs and discuss options to improve your situation. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you in future webinars. Have a nice day.
Agacad, building BIM together.